Donald Trump has issued a blunt warning to Russian leader Vladimir Putin. End the war in Ukraine within 50 days or face serious consequences.
Now, Trump's ultimatum came as he announced fresh plans to send more weapons to Ukraine through NATO, aiming to strengthen Kyiv's defenses against Russian forces.
Now, Trump again said that he was very, very unhappy with Vladimir Putin, underlining his insistence that his patience with Putin had finally run out with the Russian leader's refusal to end the war.
Now, during an Oval Office meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Trump said he is going to announce severe tariffs up to 100% against Russia if there is no deal in 50 days.
And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And they'll be at 100%. And that's the way it is. That can be more simple. It's just the way it is. I hope we don't have to do it.
Trump and Rutte also unveiled a deal under which the NATO military alliance would buy billions of dollars of arms from the United States, including Patriot anti-missile batteries, and then send them to Ukraine.
We have one country that has 17 Patriots getting ready to be shipped. They're not going to need them for them. So we're going to work a deal where the 17 will go, or a big portion of the 17 will go to the war side.
Mark Rutte also had a message for Putin, saying that Trump's warning and the new deal should make the Russian leader reconsider and take negotiations more seriously. The NATO chief said that several NATO members were among the buyers helping Ukraine.
And this is building on the tremendous success of the NATO summit. The 5%, but also the decision to keep Ukraine strong and the decision to increase our defense industrial production. So based on that, that was Europe stepping up. This is again Europeans stepping up. So I've been in contact with many countries. I can tell you that at this moment, Germany massively, but also Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada, they all want to be part of this. And this is only the first wave. There will be more.
Now, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that Berlin would play a decisive role in the new deal struck between NATO and the United States to supply weapons to Ukraine.
German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius, who met US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon recently, said that Germany could buy 2 Patriot systems for Ukraine.
A few weeks ago, I spoke to Pete Hegseth about the subject, and during the discussion, I suggested that Germany buy 2 Patriot systems from the Americans and send them directly to Ukraine, knowing that we, in our situation concerning the Patriots, their maintenance and distribution, are not able to deliver a new system, but we are ready and all agree that Ukraine needs more of these systems and that therefore justifies the purchase of 2 of these systems.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky announced that he had spoken with Trump and was grateful for the arms deal. Zelensky expressed gratitude to the US President for his readiness to protect Ukrainian lives.
Through meeting with General Kellogg, he has begun his visit to Ukraine, and it has been quite substantive. We had a productive discussion. I am grateful to President Trump for his readiness to support the protection of our people's lives.
Now, for more on this, we're being joined live by Ron Alido. He is the CEO of Miami Intelligence Agency and former CIA contractor. Thank you so much for joining us on World DNA, sir. It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's get right into it. Now, of course, we know that the timeline is set for 50 days. What are the chances that Russia agrees to a peace deal in this time frame that has been spelled out by Trump?
Actually, pretty low to none. Pretty low to none. Putin offered very good terms for peace in March of 2022 in Istanbul, in Turkey. That was the first negotiation just a few weeks after the war started, March 2022 in Istanbul, Turkey, and they were pretty light, pretty good term for Ukraine. Just be neutral, do not join NATO, and give freedom to the south east part of Ukraine, where the Ukrainians over there are mostly Russians that see themselves as Russians, that have family in Russia, that are members of the Russian Orthodox Church, that see that part like historical part of Russia. That's it. It was very good terms, but those terms were only for March 2022, 3 years after that meeting in Istanbul. Russia have lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers, many billions of dollars in equipment lost, in the economy by sanctions. So now Russia is going to ask for very strong terms for to make peace, a permanent peace, and those terms are unacceptable to Ukraine. And Trump thought that his charisma, his personal magnetism, his personality, his charm will make Putin back down, will make Putin accept less terms, stronger terms for a peace. But that was not the case. That's why Trump is frustrated, because his personal charm and his personal magnetism and charisma were not enough to persuade Putin. Putin, it has very clear his objective, and now he wants a lot more of Ukraine. He wants Odessa. He wants a lot of the eastern and the southern parts, and he wants a disarmed, neutral Ukraine, a buffer Ukraine that separates Russia from NATO.
Understood. Mr. Alito, now going back to 2022, and since then all through even the Biden administration, the term sanctions was repeatedly used. They were imposed on Russia, but the expected impact they were perhaps going to have on Russia, that wasn't seen, because Russia never backed off. Even now, they have been making more incursions into Ukraine, and more so ever since the 1st of June Operation Spiderweb. It became even stronger. Their attacks on Ukraine became even more violent. At this point, there's now talks of secondary sanctions, which Trump mentioned recently at the Oval Office, sitting with Mark Rutte. What kind of impact do you feel the secondary sanctions will have when the primary ones have not had the expected impact so far, and which all countries get impacted?
Well, basically, the secondary sanctions is the idea of very famous politicians in the United States, in the neocon globalist side of the United States politician in the Republican Party, especially Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, and others like Cotton and Kennedy, senators. They are pushing for tariff in anyone that makes business with Russia, that buys Russian oil or do commercial exchanges with Russia, including India, of course, and China. And that obviously is going to create a lot of turbulence, because these countries now, they're going to be coerced by the United States if the bill goes forward and it becomes law, by a third party, by the United States, that they are not free to do their decisions. They are not free to do commerce with the countries they want. So basically, the freedom of India to make business with Russia is going to be subject to the desires and the wishes of Washington, D.C. So basically, the same with China, the same with Saudi Arabia, the same with many countries that do business as usual with Russia. So that is going to be a slap in the face for those countries. They are going to be less independent. They are going to be they are not going to be independent enough to take their own decisions, but they are going to be directed by the United States, and that's going to be a lot of turbulence if that goes forward.
Mr. Alito, of course, talking about tariffs, now that is something we've seen extended deadlines on as well. There was a 90-day pause. Now we saw an extension till the 1st of August. This is a threat that's not just exclusive to Russia. That's something that we do know. That being said, as you mentioned earlier, there needs to be an incentive for Russia to come back to the negotiations table, terms perhaps that Ukraine would not be willing to negotiate on at all. That being said, do you see this 50-day timeline as anything more than a threat at this point?
Well, Russia always wanted to go to the negotiation table and had been in the negotiation table. In the last few months, Russia had been in Saudi Arabia several times. Russia had been in Turkey several times. Russia is always have been in the negotiation table. What happened is what Russia is offering at the negotiation table is something that Ukraine don't accept. The Ukraine wants to keep their army. Ukraine wants to recover Crimea. Ukraine wants to recover. They want Russia to leave all the territory in the Donbas area, and obviously that's fantasy. That's fantasy land. That's Disneyland. That's not real life, and Russia is never going to accept that. Russia had always been in the negotiation table, but the terms they offered to Ukraine have been unacceptable. I think right now the only thing this is going to happen, this is going to do is extend the war. I think there is no way that Ukraine can turn around this in the battlefield. Regardless of the sanction, regardless of the new Patriot system, the only thing is going to happen, this is going to extend the war 6 months, a year and a half, but I think the end goal is going to be at the end the same. Russia is going to take militarily what they want to take.
Ron Alito, always a pleasure speaking with you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all your thoughts. There will be more to discuss. Would love to have you on the show again.
Thank you very much.